Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and today I have a Headsculpt order in from Tom Veg. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today I have another order of Headsculpts in from Tom Veg, which is not the first time I've ordered from him. He's got a lot of older guys on in wrestling history. I've been really focused. Sorry, before I move on anymore, I made this order because I'm going to paint up some head sculpts for Russell Cartwright, and I thought, well, if I'm going to order a few head sculpts for him, why not get some of my own? And then I went down this mini rabbit hole watching old AWA, WCW, NWA, pre-Attitude Era wrestling. But like long before I was a wrestling fan, even before the golden era of wrestling with WWE, I started watching back a lot of older stuff, and I decided, oh, well, I better start filling out that part of the roster. So I ordered a few things for him. I'm gonna paint those up. I'll show you guys what I've got. And then I'm so excited to do these that I've already pieced together bodies, formulas, whatever, for a bunch of the customs that I have of my own. So let's get to it. All right, so the first in the order here for Russ, I think there's four head sculpts for him that I'm gonna be painting up. There's some other ones that we're gonna get, just not from Tom. But the first one is a Gangrel, and I do have a few of these customs of my own. I do have my own Gangrel sculpt from Tom that I just haven't finished painting. I painted the skin tone and just haven't gotten around to it. But so this order, I think I talked a little bit last time I got an order from Tom about the support nubs, like on the hair and everything. So you could tell that these ones were printed opposite. So instead of having them flipped, so the heads were sitting normal on the platform, they were flipped around so that the head part, so the top of the head was on the platform when they printed. I'm confusing myself. Anyway, the sculpts were flipped around so that the supports were on the bottom of the sculpt instead of on the top. So there are not any support nubs that I see that I gotta sand off or anything on here, which I'm happy with. They do seem like they could have been cured a little bit more. They feel a little like glossy. I don't know how to, like, not slimy. They're cured, they're fine. I'm gonna paint them up. They're gonna paint up fine. But in my short amount of experience with head sculpts, I feel like they just could have been cured a little bit longer. But anyway, with the Gangrel here, I knew what I was ordering because, like I said, I have it. I've seen it. I do like how this head sculpt fits. It goes well on this Christian shirt. I already had this Gangrel piece together, so I figured I'd just throw it on there. But the other sculpts I have for Russ here, I also have my own formulas together because I'm gonna get around to them, and I just haven't yet. So this one right here, I don't know if you can tell yet, but this one is going to be a roadkill. So this is another nice sculpt. Maybe Head Gimmicks also has a roadkill. I want to say roadkill and Danny Doring, they kind of go together there. But we've got that nice long beard, nice bald head. I think you can order and get both the head and the hat that Roadkill would wear from ECW. We just got the head sculpt here. Tom was running a sale for a while, so I thought it was a good time to hop on that and order some. But there is Roadkill. I just have a Big Bubba Rogers Elite, and then I have some arms from Brother Love. I've seen a few people do that, but this body just screams out Roadkill, and how do you just not make a custom? You can't not spend money to make a custom. And then, like I said, there's Danny Doring, so I've got some Bret Hart legs on this one, and then I use the Kurt Hawkins torso. So those both will be on Work in Progress Wednesday for me, and I'm going to paint these up for Russ as well. You see, I even have mine primed up because they're sitting there on my to-do list, and I just haven't gotten around to them. Been over that a few times about how my garage flooded in a have been working on getting back from that, but I've got a lot of customs coming. So there's the Danny Doring, which I wasn't a huge fan of either of these, but I'm always trying to fill out my roster, and whether I'm influencing Russ or he was influencing me, we both ended up wanting to add these guys to the collection. So there's those 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one. So I'll pull it out. This was the one. This is the last of his, but this is what inspired me to branch out and make my own. Was this Dan Spivey head sculpt here when he was a part of the Skyscrapers. So I did order. So when I looked at it, I believe there's like 3 different sculpts for Dan Spivey. One is more of the just normal hair down. This one's got the kind of mullet look, and then there is one that's more like his Waylon Mercy character. This one is fitting for when he was part of the Skyscrapers with Mean Mark Callis, Mean Mark Callis, Undertaker, and Sid Vicious. So we've gotten the Mean Mark figure, and then the Legend Sid that we just got, I actually think fits really well for the Skyscrapers. He basically had the same attire, but the head sculpt I feel like fits perfectly. I have a bunch of extra Mean Marks, and as soon as I kind of let this sit in my cart and really decide if I needed it, and then I went back and watched a bunch of old WCW and decided, well, yeah, of course I have to order my own. So we've got, this is the body I put together. It's the Mean Mark body. If I could zoom out, you can see the whole thing here. But there's the Dan Spivey, has some Braun Strowman boots. He wore some kind of like greenish boots. But we've got both the same head sculpts, that mullet head sculpt. But that is so that was number 4 for Russ. And then these next ones are all ones I ordered for my collection. So you saw Dan Spivey there. This one I don't have a body put together yet. But I'm going to be making Blitzkrieg from WCW and his time as a cruiserweight. This is the Danny Doring body, not a Blitzkrieg body. You can see the laces on the back there. I'm always concerned when there's pieces that stick out like his mask that they're going to break off. When I unboxed BW's Karrion Kross head sculpt, it was very flexible. I don't think this is quite as flexible. If something does break, I can't always sculpt it. I try to be careful, obviously, but sometimes you bump things. Packaging wasn't an issue. It all came in nice, packed very nicely. I got it in an envelope inside of a box, so it wasn't going to get smashed or anything. But this is a cool looking sculpt, and Blitzkrieg is one of those, like, he always pops up on people in WCW you forgot about, cruiserweights that you forgot about, because he was just a blip on the radar, but he was spectacular in the ring, and he never really went and did anything else. I think the guy I forget what his real name is. I know I looked it up when I was looking for some Blitzkrieg pictures, but I don't think he really did much outside of that one brief run in WCW. But he was a cool cruiserweight, and I've really wanted to add as many cruiserweights as I can from WCW to my shelf, to my collection. So that is another one. And then, like I said, we've got a bunch of old school. Then we do have a Ruthless Aggression guy in here, because you can't leave out the Ruthless Aggression. That's my personal favorite era of wrestling. Not saying it's the best, but that's what I enjoyed the most as a fan. Then next is the Midnight Express. So I had to refocus there. I have known of the Midnight Express for a long time. I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, including Jim Cornette from time to time, and obviously he talks about all the old wrestling tag teams. I've had these guys on my to-do list for a long time. Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, going back and doing the Rockers. I really enjoyed, and I talk a lot about tag teams. I always enjoy doing tag teams and matching attires. So I'm going to be doing this iteration here of the Midnight Express with Stan Lane and the other name is completely escaping me right now. I'm not a wrestling historian. I just watch a lot of wrestling. Anyway, I'm going to be making these two. I've already got them pieced together. Like I said, I'm really excited. I'll get the names right once we get to Work in Progress Wednesday. But these two sculpts, again, I thought looked pretty good. My only figure experience with them was seeing their Jakks Classic Superstars figures. So I'm gonna be making them in their black attire instead of the like blue that I've seen them in before. But I'm very excited. Oh, Bobby Eaton, that's his name. I think I got that right. But these are gonna be fun. I need to make a Cornette because he is a tag team man. He's a managing legend. I gotta get him in there. But there's Midnight Express, and then what else do we have in here? Rock and Roll Express I also ordered a long time ago, and they've just kind of been sitting, chilling, waiting to be made. So this is going to be Ronnie Garvin. I was going back watching, I wanted to watch a bunch of some old Ric Flair stuff, because most of my knowledge of Ric Flair, or fandom of Ric Flair, was watching him in the Attitude Era, which was obviously not peak Flair, but he grew on me as a wrestler as I got older, and I really enjoyed him in Evolution. I thought he was funny. I enjoyed him being the dirtiest player in the game. I like that version of Ric Flair. And I have gone back and watched a lot of his older stuff now, but I was watching all of his Starrcade main events, and one of them was against Ronnie Garvin. And he was another bigger name back in the day that he had his time in WWE, but growing up, if they weren't bigger in WWE or in just a mainstay in WWE, I didn't really know much about them. So he was never someone on my radar that I really intended to add to the collection, but his name pops up all the time. So I figured, well, I got to go watch some of his matches as well. So I am going to make him, 3XR Studio made a pretty nice custom of Ronnie Garvin, but I had these extra Bob Orton legs in there, and I did find him wearing green tights with some green boots at Star Clash 80. I can't remember which one it was. It was the one where Kerry Von Erich fought Jerry Lawler. But I want to make Ronnie Garvin, which again, I'll have some Work in Progress Wednesday. I can't imagine a lot of people are clamoring for a full video of Ronnie Garvin, but you never know. Especially, like, these are all older, deeper cuts on the roster, so some people might think today's unboxing is awesome. Some people might have absolutely zero interest, and that's okay. I want to diversify the channel. I want to have stuff that everyone enjoys. So if we need to do a bunch of the Bloodline next week to balance things out, because apparently people in the algorithm like that will do so. But these are the last two I have for today. So we've got Barry Windham, and this is very reminiscent of of the Jakks Classic Superstars figure of him. So I really couldn't find many pictures of him wearing these light bluish tights. I could find a couple here and there, but I had talked before about making the US Express, and this is going to kind of be my sit-in for that. I'm not going to do the dark blue. I started piecing things together, realizing I just had the parts to do it without doing too much painting. So this is just like the Jakks Classic Superstars, the light blue, the white and red boots, the knee pads in that color. It's just a Mr. Perfect crotch piece that I swapped out so that I could put on the ball joint legs. And then Tom also had a few different looks for Barry as well that had more of the like bangs down in front. He had a few different options. But especially after we didn't see any Barry Windhams, Tully Blanchard, really any of the Four Horsemen at San Diego Comic-Con, I decided to go ahead and start working on my own. So I've got Barry Windham there, and then I'm going to be making a Christopher Nowinski. I have wanted to for so long, and I've thought about some different head sculpts I could just do up to make it work, but I found a bunch of these Mr. Perfect Monday Night Wars Elites at Ollie's. So I picked up a bunch of those, and that's essentially what this whole figure is, just with a Christopher Nowinski head sculpt and some white knee pads. So I'm gonna paint all that up red, get the Harvard H on there. He wasn't around long. He was a Ruthless Aggression heel though, and I just couldn't stand him. He was so arrogant, and I was an impressionable young kid, so he did his job with me. I thought this was a nice head sculpt. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can really see the Barry and Nowinski there. But I'm pretty sure I even floated, like, Hederation will ask, like, what should I make next? I would say Chris Nowinski all the time. So when Tom uploaded Hit Us Up, I was like, oh man, I need to grab this. I'm excited to make that. I'm going to do a work in progress Wednesday. I think I'm going to just make it like him and Zach Gowen, split it between the two. So I'm very excited to get to that. Anything Ruthless Aggression I'm all about. But like I said, I'm just trying to flesh out my collection, my roster as much as possible. So really nothing is off limits. I did have a bunch of older TNA guys in my order initially, and I just thought I can't do all these at once, so I will wait and spend this money another day. But that is everything. We've got a bunch just already ready to go. I plan on trying to record a bunch of work in progress Wednesdays here, and then I can focus on some other stuff on the channel as well. So that is it for today. If you stuck around, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude